Benjamin Netanyahu threatens the world, breaking Netanyahu. If we fall, and that won't happen, but if we do fall, many parts of the world will fall with us. And ladies and gentlemen, that is called a threat of the Samson option. If you don't know what the Samson option is, I'm going to show you. That is a threat of the Samson option. This has been in Israel's back pocket for a long time. So the Samson option is basically, there's a story from, I believe it's from Judges, where Samson is in the temple, and to kill all his enemies, he pulls the entire temple down on himself and on all his enemies, right? And the Samson option is a strategy of massive retaliation with nuclear weapons as a last resort against country whose military has invaded and or destroyed much of Israel. Commentators also have employed the term of to refer to situations where non-nuclear, non-Israeli actors have threatened conventional weapons retaliation. The name is reference to the Bible Israelite judge Samson, who pushed apart the pillars of the Philistine temple, bringing down the roof and killing himself and thousands of Philistines who had captured him. So basically what the Samson option is they will destroy the entire world and take down the entire temple on themselves if they get hit and they have nukes or whatever other kind of weapons, ballistic missiles pointed to America, to Europe, to Australia, to wherever, because they're so spiteful, because they think that because they're the chosen people, that if they get wiped out, everybody has to get wiped out with them. And Benjamin Netanyahu just threatened the world with the Samson option. He just told you that if they fall, other places will fall with them. Okay? This is not like an open-ended threat. This is something very serious. This is something that they have had in their back pocket for a long time. And it's not good. It's not good. This whole entire escalation of just trying to keep Benjamin Netanyahu in power because of the blackmail that he has on our country and the power that is in our country that is given to them because of it, we are going to end up in a very bad situation. And I pray that I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong. I'm praying that you guys are right about all this stuff and I've just lost my way. But it's right in front of your face and you can't ignore it. And if you do ignore it, then you're just making a fool of yourself.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakah Quadash. This article is from AmericasFirstReport.com. The headline reads, Netanyahu says Israel will continue bombing Iran until threat removed. Okay, so this is the news that's dominating the headlines all over the earth right now, dealing with this attack from Israel against Iran. And the whole world is on edge and watching because people know that this is the beginning of World War III and there is no turning back. So the idea of peace and safety is far removed from this point.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival.
And that's spiritual too. Okay? Operation Rising Lion, all right? Because who's the lion that's rising up? All right? Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, and I was thinking about that one in Jeremiah chapter 4. Okay, and just to qualify it, okay, this is dealing with King Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, when he came from the north to attack Judah, all right, the southern kingdom. All right, but just applying this to Yahweh Shai coming back, Jeremiah 4:7, it says, the lion has come up from his thicket and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. All right, Yahweh Shai is on his way. Okay, the Lion of Judah. It says he has gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate, and thy city shall be laid waste without inhabitant. All right, so again, this is dealing with King Nebuchadnezzar attacking the southern kingdom, Judah. All right, but just applying this to Yahweh Shai coming back, okay, to destroy these Gentiles, these heathen nations, you know. Isaiah 42:13, it says, the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. You see that lion is beginning to roar. All right, Yahweh Shai is coming back to bring destruction to this world, man. Okay, because it's the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai that's stirring up, okay, war in the earth. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. Verse 14, it says, I have long time holding my peace. I have been still. Excuse me. I have been still and refrain myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. I will make waste mountains and hills and dry up all the herbs. And I will make the rivers islands, and I will dry up the pools. And the Lord is going to do that through nuclear destruction. Okay. And also when he appears on the scene with the heavenly host, with the chariots, man. All right. When he sends out those laser beams, that concentrated fire, he's going to turn these people into dust, into powder. Okay. He's going to dry up all the lands. He's going to dry up the pools, he said, man. So again, this is the spirit that's, going on the earth. All right. The spirit of war. Let's play some more.
This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. 80 years ago, the Jewish people were the victims of a Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. Today, the Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear Holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime.
And see, the thing is, that's exactly what's going to happen because it's prophecy, right? This is Obadiah 1:1. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle. So these nations, including Iran, all right, and the, the axis of resistance, all right, all these nations are rising up against Israel and America. Okay, so that nuclear holocaust is going to happen. Okay, it's prophetic. Verse 2, it says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. You see, these Edomites, especially these small hats, okay, these 1948ers, they're greatly despised around the world. They're greatly hated, man. Okay, this is why, I played the video in the beginning dealing with the Samson option. Okay, because they know eventually that they're going to fall. All right, eventually the world is going to come against them, and they're going to use that option to take everybody with them. All right, so these things that's going on, according to prophecy, is not going to be stopped.
Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program. Last year, Iran fired 300 ballistic missiles at Israel. Each of these missiles carries a ton of explosives and threatens the lives of hundreds of people. Soon, those missiles could carry a nuclear payload, threatening the lives not of hundreds, but of millions. Iran is gearing up to produce 10,000s of those ballistic missiles within 3 years. Now just imagine. Imagine 10,000 tons of TNT landing on a country the size of New Jersey. This is an intolerable threat. It too must be stopped.
Yeah, so those, those small hats, they know that the end is coming upon them, right? Proverbs 21:1. It's the book of Proverbs 21 and verse 1. It says, the king's heart or the king's mind is in the hand of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. All right. So this is the Lord that's operating the minds of these kings of this earth. Okay. The spirit that's in the earth heavy is nuclear war. All right. There's no stopping it. There's no diplomacy. There's no negotiations. There's no peace. Everything is moving according to the will of the Lord. All right. So again, these 48ers, these small hats know that their time is running short. Okay. And this is who got hit, in that Iranian strike from the small hats. This is from NewYorkTimes.com. It says these are the top Iranian generals and scientists killed by Israel. It says Major General Mohammed Bagheri, the chief of staff of Iran's armed forces, was among the dead, according to the Iranian state media. Officials said a top nuclear negotiator was also killed. All right, here's the list. All right, the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. All right, and then these are all the military generals that got killed from those different strikes. Okay. Let's jump down. It says here, Israeli strikes on Friday morning dealt a major blow to Iran's military chain of command by killing at least 3 of its top generals, along with a senior politician and at least 2 nuclear scientists, according to the Iranian state media and officials. The Israeli military confirmed the deaths of 3 Iranian commanders. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, moved swiftly to replace the military leaders in an apparent bid to project stability and prevent a power vacuum. At least 1 other top general was killed, according to the Israeli military, a claim that Iran did not immediately comment on. All right, here's what we know about those killed. All right, and the rest reads on. We're not going to read that because I got a video to tie in. All right, so everybody's expecting, some type of get back, if you will. All right, this is why everybody across the planet is on edge. Okay, because everybody knows that there's no turning back from this. All right, let's get this video here. All right. Oh, here's another point. It's from APnews.com. Israel strikes Iran's nuclear sites, kills its top generals. Iran vows severe retaliation. See?
All right, guys, let's go through all of the major breaking news updates I have for you here. As you all know, last night, Israel launched a massive attack on the state of Iran. They bombed well over a dozen targets. In fact, last time I talked to you, there was only 1 round of bombing of about a dozen targets. Since then, they've done another wave of bombings. So, let me walk you through what happened. We learned that some of the people who were killed in the bombing raids were the military chief of staff for Iran, the commander of the Revolutionary Guard, secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, and nuclear scientists, including the top nuclear scientist. So we have Khamenei's right-hand man, so the Ayatollah's right-hand man, his chief of staff was killed. The nuclear scientists were killed. But then also the top negotiator with the United States was killed as well. That person's name is Ali Shamkhani. He's been killed. And this is effectively Israel is, I mean, the fact that they launched the attack anyway is killing any hope of diplomacy whatsoever, because they don't want diplomacy, they want regime change. But specifically targeting the top negotiator is as clear as you can get that they have no interest whatsoever in peace. Now,
Yeah, that's the spirit, right? Isaiah 48 and 22. And it reads, Isaiah 48 and 22, it says, there is no peace, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, unto the wicked. All right. There is no peace coming to these devils. They don't want peace. All right. They want war. They want to be able to take over that entire region. This is what it's about. Okay. This is why everything is leading towards nuclear war, Armageddon, World War III. All right. Ezekiel 7 in verse 25, it says, destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there should be none. There you have it.
What's been crazy is watching the media report on this, because there's all these headlines that talk about Israel goes after Iranian's nuclear facilities, which is partly true. They did go after Iran's nuclear facilities, but at the same time, they also did massive bombings in civilian areas of apartment buildings. So there's all these headlines, Israel bombs Iranian nuclear facilities, and then the picture for the articles is apartment buildings with civilians in it on fire. Okay, well, by the way, we also know, it's been verified now, that there are children who've been killed. Children who've been killed. Okay, at least 78 people killed. The exact percentage of which being like Iranian government officials, we don't know yet, but 78 people killed, 329 injured so far. So, one of the other things that's been catching my eye is that, God, I can't even tell you, it's been like hundreds of US politicians who are all doing this very bizarre, like, pray for Israel bit. They're all tweeting, pray for Israel, we stand with Israel, we love Israel, they're defending Western civilization. Every single politician who's out there saying, pray for Israel, at the same time, Israel launched an illegal and aggressive and offensive attack on a country that didn't attack them and wasn't going to attack them. All of them either have a thick-ass Mossad file on them, or, as Thomas Massey said, they all have their APAC handlers. And their APAC handlers send them the script when something like this happens, and they go out there like the little puppets they are, and they say what they're told to say. So it is very disturbing watching hundreds of politicians come out there and say, we stand with Israel, pray for Israel. Again, at the same time, Israel didn't get hit yet. It was Israel that launched an illegal and offensive and aggressive attack against Iran, and nobody's even bothering to pretend like, oh, what, Iran was about to launch an imminent attack on Israel? That's totally bogus. Everybody knows that's bogus.
Yeah, because these small hats, they're getting ready to amplify, you know, that victim role super hard now, all right, which I want to get into that as well, right? But let me grab a scripture here. This is Isaiah 9 and 5. It says, every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Yeah, World War III. Okay? We're at the beginning of this thing, man. All right? Again, the whole world is on edge. All right? People are aware of what's happening here. Okay? The people are fed up with the, what these small hats are doing. So, it's kind of heavy that, you have these protests and these riots that are going on right now, because since this incident took place, dealing with this attack, all right, expect these riots and protests to get more controversial. All right, it's gonna be more shit going on, man. So this could be the time where they use these riots to bring forth, a major event. I'm just speaking out loud.
So they're praying for the oppressor. They're praying for the victimizer. Not a single person has said, pray for the innocent civilians in Iran. Nobody said that.
Yeah, that's these small hats, the oppressor. Let me get that too. Because everything is spiritual. Micah chapter 2. Woe to oppressors. Micah 2:1, it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. Right. Hey, the wicked is empowered. Okay. As we saw this video, play across the headlines all last night. Okay. And you got America trying to act like, they weren't involved, but everybody knows that, they spoke about this before this attack happened. Basically they were green lighted to do what they had to do. All right. So these devils are not fooling anybody. Right. Verse 2, it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. What are they doing in Gaza right now? All right. They want that whole region to themselves. And like he said, they're going to continue bombing Iran until threat removed, until they get that whole region, man. Okay. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. See, this is how they move. This is what they do. Micah 2 and 3, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which you shall not remove your necks, neither shall you go haughtily, for this time is evil. So again, these small hats, these devils can't, slither their way out of judgment, man. Okay, the whole world is watching them. Okay, and there's uproars all over the internet. This is why they're getting ready to shut this thing down, because everybody is criticizing these people. Okay, they're calling them out for what it is. Okay, and this is why they're getting ready to do what they got to do. Okay, he can't run from judgment, man, because it's all gonna eventually catch up with him, right? As we see now. It says, in that day shall one take up a parable against you and lament with a doleful lamentation. And that's what's happening amongst the nations. All right. Everybody's crying out and speaking out against the small hats, the 48ers, against the Edomites, and say, we be utterly spoiled. He have changed the portion of my people. How have you removed it from me? Turning away, he divided our fields. See? Let's play a little more.
It is so fucking dystopian and so Orwellian, man. It really just blows my mind. It's like we live in the fucking Twilight Zone when I see shit like this. All right, so I also have, listen to this. So there are reports that Israel conveyed the message to Iran that if they retaliate, the supreme leader, the Grand Ayatollah Khomeini, that he will be eliminated. So that's their warning of like, hey, we know where you are. We could kill you too. We just killed a bunch of top Revolutionary Guard people, top nuclear people. We can get your ass too, so don't even think of retaliating. Now, I should point out, last night, after the second wave of bombs from Israel, there were reports that Iran had launched 100 drones towards Israel. And that was according to an IDF spokesperson who said that. There were some videos on social media of these drones flying over Iraq, going to Israel. Now, having said that, this was last night that I saw this. And here I am in the morning, in fact, it's almost the afternoon now, and there have been zero updates on these drones. So it looks like they were shot down or they never reached their destination. And that's the other thing, is it's very possible that Israel took out, drone headquarters for Iran in their 2 waves of bombing strikes. So there's a real question here as to Iran's capacity to even respond. Okay, so even with that said, though, Israel's leaders, get this, are now hiding in tunnels and underground command centers embedded in civilian areas. So this is the same people who scream all the time about how their enemies use human shields. It is unambiguous that right now, Israeli leaders are using human shields by hiding in civilian population centers under the ground. All right, now...
Man, it's crazy. You can watch the rest of that, right? But let's move on here. More news and prophecy. Israel warns foes seeking its destruction will be eliminated after strikes on Iran, as we just heard. All right, so these these Edomites are popping their shit, man. All right, Psalms 10, right? This is Psalms 10:5. It says, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. See? He have said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. And that's really the mindset of Esau, all right? These devils, they don't think that they're ever going to fall. They don't think that they're going to be taken down. But according to prophecy, all right, we're actually living in that time of the fall of these Edomites, man. As we see these nations gathering themselves together to take these devils down, right? Very, very heavy times we're living in, man. All right, let's grab this. This is Jeremiah 50:41. It says, behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. You see that? And that people from the north is dealing with Russia. Okay? A great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And that's what's happening. All right? The spirit of war is in the earth, and these kings are being raised up for this final war. Okay? It says, they shall hold the bow and lance. In the lance they are cruel, and will show no mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. All right, America. Okay, and those small hats too. The king of Babylon have heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as a woman in travail. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan unto the habitation of the strong. But I will make them suddenly run away from her. Who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? Who is like me? And who will appoint me to the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore hear you the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that he have taken against Babylon, America, and his purposes that he had proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. You see that? So again, as we all know at this point by now, okay, is that, the small hats, the 48ers, are drawing America into nuclear war, World War III. Okay? They're not going to stop bombing Iran until the threat is removed. Okay? This thing is going down. All right? It says, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations, right? Because when Babylon, when America falls, when Esau is taken down, all right, the whole world is going to know. Okay? The whole planet is going to see the fall of these devils, man. All right? This is Isaiah 13:4. It says, the noise of a multitude on the mountain like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. The Lord is gathering the nations for this final war. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. And that whole land is going to be America, Babylon, man, which is going to use the ICBMs to do it. Those are the weapons of the Lord's indignation. Okay? So everything has reached that boiling point, that breaking point, man. Okay? It's all getting ready to go down. All right? And because of this attack, like I said, they're going to amp up more security for these small hats. Like I said, they're going to really push that victim role amongst these devils, right? Here's a point I want to make here, right? It says New York City increases NYPD security at Jewish locations after Israel launches strike against Iran.
Now back to the breaking news in the Middle East. Israel launching a barrage of strikes against Iran, raising fears of war throughout the region.
Yeah, the Israeli military says that their strikes aimed at Iran's nuclear program involving more than 200 fighter jets. Israel now under a state of emergency as it braces for a retaliation from Iran.
We have team coverage this morning on the growing conflict, what's next, and how the White House is responding. We want to begin with Eyewitness News reporter Lindsay Tuckman. She's live right outside the Israeli consulate on Manhattan's east side. Lindsay, good morning.
Good morning, Shirlene and Pedro. You could see there is an NYPD officer already stationed outside the Israeli consulate this morning, as often there is, as tensions in the Middle East are felt here in New York very often as well. So the NYPD does say it is monitoring the situation today as Iranians woke up this morning to devastation following this surprise attack by Israel. Also, though, in Israel, the country is under a state of emergency as well as a shelter-in-place order, as the IDF says 100 Iranian drones are entering the country's airspace. Israel does plan to use air defenses to intercept those drones. This comes, though, after Israel carried out major airstrikes on Iran to try and decimate its nuclear program and main enrichment facility, ultimately to prevent the country from building a nuclear bomb. Reports that top nuclear scientists were killed, we are hearing, as well as confirmation of 3 senior military commanders of the Iranian regime. But also, though, images coming out this morning of Tehran show injured people lining the streets, buildings blown apart, and rubble coating cars. Iran's supreme leader is vowing severe punishment on Israel, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Operation Rising Lion, as it is called, is a necessity.
And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, so, I'm just thinking because of this attack, all right, these small hats could get a lot of pushback, across America, all right? So as you see, they're going to amplify more of these laws as I got here. I saw this earlier today across the feed. This is from Community News. It says, breaking amid record anti-you-know-what hate crimes in NYC. It says the mayor just took a historic stand, signed an executive order adopting the IHRA definition of anti-you-know-what, okay? So as you see here, they're signing these bills and legislations to, to pretty much to cover these people. See, look at these sellouts, man. All right, and this is 4 days ago, so this is right before these strikes happen, man. So you see how it's all constructed to to shield these people from any type of criticism or whatnot. All right, so hey, they're taking it there. You see it?
It is not, and there is such a great significance for all of us standing together during what I believe is a truly pivotal time of crisis, both in Israel and here in the United States, standing together against hate and evil and wrong. It is so important because things are spinning out of control. And there's great and important strength found in unity when you're confronting evil and defending human dignity. Ben Gurion said it really well. He said it's not so much what the haters and the anti-Semites say as it is what the rest of us, all of you do trying to make right and right.
Yeah, so here we go. Okay, we told y'all. All right, right here in your face, man. Legislation, policies, all right, that's gonna protect them. All right, like I said in the previous lesson, this is how they're going to try to hide themselves. You see? So it's about to amp up.
Holocaust. You believe it's an exaggeration, then you go to Krakow and walk through the camp. And you'll see the reality of what happened. Denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination by claiming that their very existence of a state of Israel is a racist endeavor, or holding Jews collectively responsible for the actions of any state, including the state of Israel. I want to be clear, so it is not intended to restrict speech or conduct that is protected under the First Amendment. And anti-Semitic acts are criminal only when they are defined by law.
Yeah, so you get it. Hey, it says anti-you-know-what is not activism, it's not free speech, it's hate, and it's time we name it. So you see what's coming. All right, Psalm 94? All right. Perfect timing, right? Psalm 94 and verse 20, it says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law. All right. So look, everything has been set up to cover them, man. All right. Got these sellouts. Okay. Got the APAC, all that, man. All by design. Job 18. And this is Job 18 in verse 18. It says, I start at 17. Job 18 and 17, it says, his remembrance shall perish from the earth. He shall have no name in the street. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. All right. And this is what's happening to the Edomite, especially the small hat, man. Okay. The earth is rising up against them. This is why they come in with the legislation, the decrees. Okay. You can't say nothing. You can't call them out for their wickedness. All right. It's all going down. So it's all, again, it's all perfect. It's all perfect timing, man. You know? But yeah, we're going to continue to watch, man. Hey, heavy times that we're living in. It's all going down. Shalom to the next one. Shalom.